So, the mainstream media has fallen victim to the Trump derangement syndrome once again. This latest batch of drama surrounds Trump's use of the word bloodbath in a speech. Trump's remark was made during a rally in Dayton, Ohio, where he warned of a bloodbath for the auto industry and the country if he was not reelected. The statement has been interpreted in various ways, some rather strange, leading to accusations of media misinformation and bias. Trump and his supporters are arguing that his use of the word bloodbath was specifically in reference to the potential economic fallout for the U.S. auto industry under policies promoted by President Joe Biden, particularly concerning tariffs on cars made outside the U.S. and the push towards electric vehicles. Trump claimed that if he were re-elected, he would impose a 100% tariff on Chinese-made cars to protect the U.S. auto industry, suggesting that failure to re-elect him would result in severe economic consequences. So that's the context of his speech. Now, critics and many media news outlets, however, interpreted this bloodbath comment as a broader threat of political violence or a dire prediction for the country as a whole beyond just the auto industry. These news outlets are claiming their interpretation has been fueled by Trump's history of using charged and so-called violent language. And so the news media posted countless articles, smearing the former president, claiming he was threatening the country if he wasn't elected. As an example of this, we can look at Twitter X, where Politico posted this tweet saying, "Trump says the country faces bloodbath if Biden wins in November." And then on CNN and MSNBC, respectively, we have Nancy Pelosi making a similar claim, as well as Joe Scarborough from MSNBC. Take a look.
Because he's even predicting a bloodbath. What does that mean? He's going to exact a bloodbath? There's something wrong here. How respectful I am of the American people and their goodness. But how much more do they have to see from him to understand that this isn't what our country is about? Praising Hitler.
Endure because we're constantly shocked by what he says, but don't let that shock, don't let that trauma let you forget what you're hearing.
It was a distinction without a difference. He was talking about the auto industry, then he pivots, he goes, it's going to be a bloodbath. So, okay, maybe if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath. Okay, maybe you can connect that to the auto industry. Maybe you can, okay. But again, I've never really heard people discuss macroeconomics in terms of bloodbaths. But maybe so. But let's just say for argument's sake. But then he says, and that's going to be the least of it.
Oh, come on, Joe, really? The term bloodbath is a common phrase for economic disasters and more. The mainstream media uses this phrase all the time. Thanks to Grabian for this montage. Take a look.
Headlines calling it a, quote, bloodbath.
Be a bloodbath. Not only is it going to be a bloodbath, but after they leave New Hampshire, it's a bloodbath on her home turf.
And the headline refers to it as an impending bloodbath.
Columnist Charles Blow has a new piece for the New York Times entitled A Biden Bloodbath.
The Republican Party will be destroyed. It's going to be a bloodbath.
There's going to be a bloodbath one way or the other.
Bloodbath for Bernie Sanders.
It's been a bloodbath there, shaping up to be a bloodbath.
Head off a bloodbath in next year's crucial midterm.
Off-year elections are often a bloodbath.
This week's bloodbath for Democrats.
A bloodbath at the ballot box.
There could be a Republican bloodbath.
They'll talk about a bloodbath.
It's a bloodbath. I have to talk about you.
It's going to be a bloodbath all day long.
Is in for a bloodbath.
Hasn't been a bloodbath on the way down. Donald Trump bloodbath. Be a bloodbath.
Predicted to be a bloodbath.
It would be a bloodbath.
More of a bloodbath.
It's going to be a bloodbath in November.
A bloodbath on Wall Street.
There's going to be a bloodbath.
In Alabama, into a bloodbath.
Obviously, there was a bloodbath.
It was a bloodbath. We're down 800 points.
This bloodbath at Department of Homeland Security.
And it's a bloodbath today.
There was going to be this bloodbath.
There could be a bloodbath for them.
Bloodbath, possibly.
Bloodbath that went through with the Attorney General.
Bloodbath 99 days out.
So let's cut through the noise here. What exactly did Donald Trump actually say? Is it as diabolical as the news media is making it out to be?
Mexico has taken, over a period of 30 years, 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country. Think of it. Went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. Now, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories. A friend of mine,
Now, love him or hate him, anyone who listens to the unedited speech from the former president would be hard-pressed to conflate his clear reference to the auto industry and economy at large with some nefarious threat by the former president. The media knows this, but they are so invested in trying to get Trump and ensure that he doesn't get reelected that all pretense of objectivity has just been thrown out the window. And by the way, it's been out the window for a very long time now. This sort of thing isn't new, which I suppose makes it all the more hilarious that thanks to Twitter X, people like Joe Scarborough and others who posted their misinformation on the world's #1 news platform, Twitter X, were called out for their actions. For example, here's Joe Scarborough, who posted on Twitter X saying this: "Donald Trump's America, and he is proud of it. Promised another bloodbath if he loses again." End quote. But shortly thereafter, Elon Musk called him out on his post saying this: "January 6th was not a bloodbath by any definition, and Trump was referring to job losses in the auto industry when he used that word. Your post is extremely misleading." And then like magic, Joe Scarborough's post magically was self-deleted not long after. The mainstream media in our country has for a very long time been able to get away with this kind of misinformation with little or no consequences. But thankfully this has changed somewhat in recent years, thanks in large part to social media. But this too has been under assault, thanks to the censorship cabals like the Trusted News Initiative. We've all felt it. Many of us have experienced the censorship personally. But again, thanks to Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter X, at least for now, one major social media platform remains mostly a free speech place. Something I, for one, am quite grateful for. We sit too close to the edge of falling into dystopian government control over speech. Something that every free person on planet Earth should be resisting. And that, my friends, will bring our episode to a close once more. From the To Be Frank Show, I am Adrian. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.